Folks. Sorry about the late start. We've been having some technical difficulties. But welcome back to Garden of Blue Roses, an incursion of Trophy Dark. Um, Tonight I'm joined by I, Alex, and Avery.
Hello.
Um, Moon will not be joining us tonight. Their character Noveen died last week. Well,
Tragically.
turned into a tree. But Z will be back with their new character in our next session. But for tonight, we have entered into the second of 5 rings. Um, so how is everyone feeling tonight?
Like our characters or just us?
Your characters.
Oh.
Do you want to talk about your emotions?
I could. Could we? I haven't been to therapy in a very long time. I would love to talk about my feelings right now. No? Okay.
No, I have a game to run. I have a show to run.
Yeah, this is.
I was gonna say I have places to be.
So the last thing that we
The end of the game being a place. Winning.
winning the game is a place, yeah. What's the last thing that we saw or did?
The last thing I have written down is that Naveen turns into a tree, and then we're trying to get the crossbow.
Right.
I guess my question would be, how evident is it that the tree that Novina's turned into is different from, say, the tree that was it Barbara turned into?
You know how sometimes you see a tree and it looks like a really creepy, like, person?
Naturally.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what Barbara looks like. Noveen usually looks like that when using their skill Dryad, but you realize that Noveen is not really Noveen anymore because this time, like, your average.
Okay. All right. I think Clock will look at Sybil after attempting to extricate the crossbow, and if that is something that we need to put more emphasis on, we can. We'll look at Sybil. They are doing much better this time with their tree.
Yeah, it seems so. She's gonna walk up into it and just knock on it a couple times. Yeah, in there, or
You get no response.
yeah, I don't think they're coming back.
Clock will attempt to unravel because Clock is innocent and very, I mean, not necessarily not smart, but it just is like, well, let me try and help. So Clock will attempt to unravel this
Now,
this ritual.
why don't we? We've been using these, whatever these things are we're doing. I don't know how you learned them or how you came about them, but they're not. I've been practicing for a long time with these abilities, and I don't know how long you've been around there, youngster, but I ain't
Clock
recommend.
gestures to the various dials and things that make up their body and just says, "These abilities are a part of me."
Well, isn't that sweet? I'm just saying, I don't think they're coming back. You can certainly try, but frankly, I don't know where that other one went, but we've been slowed down a little bit too much already, and seems like y'all are going to be sticking with it, so might as well keep you around.
Clock will, again, trying to stay out of Sybil's way, will just nod demurely. And once Sybil starts to move, will trot along behind, but likely will continue to, like, just glance over their shoulder every once in a while at the Novine tree.
No,
That's
try again.
Tree bean.
Better. Where do I see the Nima? I have not catched her name, but
How far ahead are you at this point?
So I think once I had the encounter with Barbara, I would have kind of followed her a little bit back just to see what was going on. And then as soon as it looked like she was occupied by everyone else, I'd go back up the path. And I'd kind of be trying to follow her footsteps a little bit just to see if she came directly down the path or not. But if there's a path, I'm going to follow it.
There's a path.
I'm not running, but I'm...
It's kind of overgrown in places. A little bit, like, have to duck tree branches and kind of dodge. And there's points where you lose the path and have to, like, look really closely to find your way through, but you follow it pretty pretty well.
we follow it as well, or
Yeah.
okay.
And eventually Sybil and Clock managed to catch up to you because you hit an obstacle that can't really get across. That's a it's not quite a river, it's more of a creek. But it's still too wide to just jump across. You see what looks like the remains of a bridge, but it's mostly submerged. The water looks calm on top, but it also looks murky. Can't really tell how.
Well, that's all well and good, but I didn't exactly splurge for the waterproof hiking boots. So I'm gonna see if I can make my way down towards the remains of the bridge. See if there's like any rocks or anything that I can use
Now, excuse me,
to get me across.
you're just gonna ignore us?
You were all doing your thing. I didn't want to interrupt.
Well, our thing got someone killed, so unfortunately, I think, as much as it pains me, I think we need to stick together.
Clock will just poke their head out from behind
All right.
Sybil and say, "But she does not like it if you get in her way." And then
What
just
they said.
Well, neither do I, so we got something in common there.
That doesn't reassure me. Alright.
You got some genius plan to get across the creek?
How rough is the water?
It looks calm on top, but you've heard of this creek before? Or something like it? Waters that look still and calm on top, but are very deep. Can't really tell how deep it is. And the currents beneath the surface. Quite dangerous. It's basically the Bolton Strid.
Okay.
Which basically everyone who falls into the Strid never reemerges again.
So I'm taking. If I'm picking up what you're putting down, I'm assuming that I cannot swim across this river.
You cannot swim across this.
This
river.
seems to be an impasse here that is impassable.
How rough is the bridge?
It's like there's some like support beams, poles on one side, and like a bit too far to jump to on the side. There's like a little bit of like planks still kind of stuck together, but sunk in mud on the bank. So you can tell it was a bridge, you just can't use it as one.
The,
But you said some of the planks from the bridge are stuck in the mud on our side.
No, on the opposite side.
how wide across?
A bit further than like jumping distance.
Okay.
Which I don't know how. I'd say 6. That's me.
I would maybe
go
like
ahead.
10,
Sorry.
10, 15 feet. That's a good not being able to jump across feet
Yeah.
distance. What were you gonna say, Reese's?
What kinds of trees are we looking at here? Like, are there trees around us at this point still?
Yes. In some places, they kind of come straight up to the bank, and in other places, like where you are around the bridge, there's a little bit of ring.
Okay.
I see
We're
gears
looking at
turning.
like
What you thinking?
viney trees, maybe, or just more like regular trees.
It's more like a temperate deciduous forest. You're not in a
Okay.
rainforest. There's not like there's ivy growing up some of the trees, but it's not like support your weight ivy.
It's not thick enough to use as.
How difficult would it be to find a tree seed?
Like a pine cone or something.
Not that difficult.
Okay. Clock will pick up a tree seed if they manage to find one, and will walk up to the edge of the bank and will begin to wedge it into the bank, make a little mound, make sure that it's properly like entrenched in there, but at an angle so that hypothetically, were this tree to begin to grow, it would be growing up at an angle instead of straight up. And DM willing, I would like to try casting my namesake clock and cause a small area to move unnaturally fast and try to grow this tree
How
out.
much time are you trying to get through?
It does not. Oh, like. See, no, I'm not a tree expert.
For a pine or an oak, it would probably take about 10 to 15 years to get it, like, to a reasonable, like, tree size. It would take much longer to get it very big and very thick around. Like,
Okay.
so. Yes.
Can I look for trees that are kind of already leaning or have branches that are reaching over?
Can do this.
Do I find any near a relatively narrower portion of the creek?
I'll say yeah. I'll say you do. You have to go down quite a ways.
Now I'm scanning the other. That's fine. I've got an eye on the bridge, so like I know where I was. Now I'm scanning the other side of the creek bed to see if there are any trees that are leaning towards me.
I don't think you're gonna get that lucky.
I can roll for it.
You can
Okay.
roll for it. Do you have any skills that
What
apply?
would I roll? No.
Do you want to take a devil's bargain?
Not particularly. I have other ideas. So the tree that I have that is kind of growing out across the creek, how big is it?
It's hefty, maybe a 50-year-old tree. It's old and big, tall,
Awesome.
branchy.
Very tree-like.
Excellent.
I have a
I
specific
would
tree
like-
in my head, but only Avery would know which tree I was talking about. At the park.
Oh, okay.
Can I kick around the base of the tree and see if it's got any like roots sticking up, or if it's
It's in the way of old trees. It does have some roots, like near its base poking out of the ground. But it seems fairly, like, stable in the ground. Like an iceberg.
This is the best puzzle you've ever given us.
Yeah. Well, this isn't really the way I expected you to go.
We're going into the forest. This is what you wanted.
I didn't expect you all to be
The
like, I'm
path
gonna make
really
a tree.
Wait, did Clock make the tree?
No, not yet.
Okay.
They could certainly try. I won't stop them. But I will ask that you use 2 dark dice because you're trying to speed up time for quite a long amount of time.
That is fair. That is fair. Hmm.
So, what were you looking for around the base of the tree, Kai?
the roots. Does it have roots that are kind of like sticking up, or are they really deep in there?
It's deep in there. It's not a tree you could like
Okay.
push over or uproot with your own strength.
All right. Can I see?
But I don't need to use my own strength.
Oh.
Interesting.
'Cause I have a ritual that allows me to rearrange and reshape inanimate material.
Do
But
You were
it seems
fun.
it feels like too much work if the roots are really well down in there, as opposed to if it would be easy for me
no,
to
it's
kind
a
of
fairly stable
get in the dirt
tree.
between the roots. So, well, hell.
Do we have like grass and rocks around here as well?
Yes.
Okay. Could I attempt to use a skill that I wasn't sure I would ever use, that being the skill of invention, to possibly fashion a very primitive hatchet out of the materials around me?
I'll let you roll for it. Yeah.
Pick
I
one
just see
for the skill.
Clock digging around. I go, what are you doing? Or
Do like a devil's bargain for a second light die.
I am happy to solicit offers, yes.
Anyone have
I mean, we're in a forest. Something might notice you digging around.
good
That
point?
is true.
Or you
That is
sprain your
true.
ankle, but you don't have an ankle because you're a robot.
Yeah.
Automaton.
Robot. Clock. All right. I will take that risk. I'll take the devil's bargain of perhaps attracting some attention. And I'm willing to risk some shenanigans as well. So I will take a dark die for a total of 3.
All right.
Okay. One of my non-dark dice rolled a 6. I have a 6, a 4, and a 1 from my dark die.
Okay, so your ruin doesn't go anywhere. Good. And you succeed without complications. So I'm going to say that your devil's bargain does not occur. Which is good for me because I was scrambling trying to figure out what you like encounter at this point. But you managed to make a fairly nice primitive stone hatchet.
Okay. And with this, Clock will go up to Nima and just kind of hold it out, noticing that they've been looking at trees and stuff, and also, like, I imagine Clock being fairly diminutive in stature. Just kind of, I do not know if this would help, but just kind of holds it.
All right. Not exactly sure what I'm going to do with this. I'm an academic, but
You take hatchet and put it in
Sure.
a tree. The equation is very simple. And so I don't. So, and just so you know, that is Sybil. That is Sybil's slot. She thinks it's very simple. You just. Do you want me to do it, or I can do it if you like, or.
well, it's not my usual set of tools, and I'll hand the hatchet over to Sybil.
Cool. I don't know what to do with this, but take a guess and just take a couple swings. See if I can chop this tree down.
Okay, maybe not this tree. A timely fashion, but you could chop down. There are like thinner trees. You could chop down.
All right.
Not like thin, like I'm talking more like this big around instead of this big around.
Both will take a very long time. Okay. Don't have any skills that would apply here. Unless security.
Security would not apply.
I have a question about one of my skills
Yes.
and whether or not it would apply. One of my skills is death.
Do you want to kill a tree?
Tree death.
That's what chopping it down is.
I don't think
Right?
that's how that skill is supposed to be employed.
Listen, all I got was skill, death.
How is that skill supposed to be
So-
employed?
I think
Just
it
out of
means
curiosity.
dealing with things related to like actual human or animal
Dying.
death, like
Death.
figuring out how something died or performing last rites.
The ultimate millennial
Okay.
skill. You exceed in the act of death.
The act of death, yeah. Sybil's gonna take like 2 or 3 strikes and just realize this ain't gonna work.
Welcome to Trophy Dark Lumberjack Simulator.
Lumberjack, I should have been wearing my flannel.
Clock's head just kind of goes down a little.
Now it was an idea. Can't say it was a good idea. It was an idea. And she hands it back to you, Clock. The hatchet. Keep that for later. Don't know what we'll be running into out there. I'm gonna return back to the bridge. Are there said there's like posts in the water? Are they like just above the water?
Yeah.
Can I use my skill in acrobatics to try and hop across?
There's not many. There's like it looks like the bridge kind of went like in an arc, so there's posts on your side of the bank and posts on the other side of the bank.
Okay. Well,
not in a straight line across.
I don't know what the hell y'all are here for, but this river is certainly preventing us from getting deeper.
So the tree that I'm still communing with here,
Mm-hmm.
Does it have branches that go out of across the water?
Yes.
Can I use my acrobatics to climb a tree and see if I can get across that way?
Yes.
Is this a roll?
Yeah.
Okay.
Do the branches look like they would support the weight of a human being?
Some of them, yeah.
Approximately the size of an adult.
Some of them, yeah.
Alright. Can I climb the tree? I want to climb the tree.
You're gonna have to roll for it.
Also climbing the tree.
Okay. So you have a skill in acrobatics.
Absolutely.
Are you willing to risk your mind or body?
Hell yes, I am.
Okay. Then you have a light die and a dark die. Ema, I don't suppose you have any applicable skills here.
I do not.
Are you willing to risk your mind and body?
I will most definitely be risking my body.
Okay, you can take a dark die, and if you'd like to take a devil's bargain, you can take a light die as well.
I roll now.
I imagine I will be attracting a lot of attention.
I'll suggest, and you don't have to take this bargain, that
Or
in the crossing you lose something of yours to the river.
absolutely. So, to set the scene, Nima is wearing very sturdy hiking boots, and the rest of her is dressed like she's going for a walk in the park. She is not, like, digging in the woods. Dressed like she's got a flowery scarf on, she's got jewelry on, she's got big dangly earrings. She does not look like someone who, like, really prepared to, like, deep dive into the woods today. But here she is.
Is she wearing anything of particular value, sentimental or otherwise?
So the whole reason she's wearing the scarf is that she uses it for one of her rituals.
Oh.
The mask, she covers her face to remove herself from other senses. She uses her scarf for that. And I imagine she's probably also wearing, like, a gaudy looking ring or something like that. Probably, you know. Probably some piece of jewelry is, like, I don't know,
Yeah,
Kai does
ring.
not wear things that are easy to get.
Maybe a class ring or something. I don't necessarily want to take away your tool for doing a ritual.
You're being too nice to us.
That's true.
I mean,
Then again, we also have
the
spent about a
scarf
half
is
hour
just
trying to get across this river.
Yeah, you have.
the scarf is nice and like kind of sheer, so she can still see through it, as opposed to having to like cover her face with her hands.
Or a big old leaf.
Okay, I'm gonna, depending on how you roll, I'm gonna take your scarf from you. But first, how did you roll, Sybil?
Oh, I got 5 on my dark dice, which is higher than my current ruin, so my ruin is now at 5.
Okay.
Oh boy. Here we go again.
Awesome. So I roll a light die and a dark die.
Yes. How'd you do?
I got a 6 on my light die
Hey!
and a 2 on my dark die.
Great, your ruin does not increase.
I keep my scarf
And I'm gonna let you keep your scarf.
for now.
Oh. Sybil, you cross somewhat easily. Would you like to explain how it goes?
Yeah, so she's unnaturally good at just scrambling, like a freaking flying squirrel, or like just a regular squirrel, I guess. She just like cinches her nails into the bark of the tree and just scatters up, and grabs branch up to branch. Like she's done this before, and she just leaps just from branch to branch. Maybe a branch cracks underneath her as she goes across, or something. Whatever happens as she's getting across.
Yes, and I think once again your cultist symbol is now quite visible.
Okay.
In fact, I think your cloak tears as you're falling in such a way that it's gonna be quite awkward to try and use it to cover your cultist symbol.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, she's gonna go. And then she'll scramble down, notice her tear, and just kind of fix it as best she can. And then we'll look across the water at Clock and goes, "Can you climb, or?"
Clock will attempt to climb, using their skill in mimicry to do whatever it was that these people just did.
All right.
And yeah, we're gonna try and do that. So that will be one of those. And I am always willing to risk my body because my body can be repaired, or so Clock thinks. So we'll go with those. Okay, so what happens if I roll 2 6s, one on the dark die, one on the light die?
Well, your ruin goes
I'm happy
up.
to take a picture and send it. Does it?
Yeah.
Because like it's not
Yes.
technically the highest. I don't know.
If it's
Oh wait, does it say specifically if it's a tie though?
It's specifically if it's a tie. And the dark die is higher than your current ruin. Your ruin increases by 1.
Damn.
But you still
Alright,
succeed.
what's your ruin at the moment?
What?
My ruin is now at 5.
Okay, so just
As
to
well.
let you both who are at 5 know, now that you've reached ruin 5, you can start sabotaging the other players in subtle ways to lower your ruin.
We've reached peak shenanigan.
But other than your ruin going up, you manage to get across quite gracefully. And as do you, Nima. There's a moment where your scarf kind of like comes loose, but you manage to grab it before it falls. And now you are both on the far side of the bank. In
That
fact, all
was
three of you are.
an exceptional climbing job. Let's go. And she's just gonna
Clock is
turn
like
around and just keep
lifting up
going.
a finger to explain, and then a finger goes down, follows.
We've already started walking away.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
There's a bit of a wider path on this side. In fact, as you're walking, you start to see like some scattered, very old paving stones. Most are missing, but the further you go down path, the more cohesive it seems. I think after maybe an hour or two walking, you come across a what looks to be the ruins of a building. At the moment, there's only one wall left standing, and it's sort of like half covered in vines. But enough of it is free that you can see the mosaic on the front, um, which shows blue roses that you're here to try and find. It shows an image of them growing and like people tending them while wearing elaborate robes, or as elaborate as a mosaic of this size could show. And at this moment, I kind of want to ask y'all some world building questions. Are there any myths or stories that you have heard of the Tower of the Blue Roses?
I feel like they were mentioned quite a bit back where Sybil's from. I feel like they're sort of a revered item, a mystical, panacea, whatever, however you pronounce it. They never
I thought it was Panacea.
panacea. I don't know if you're wrong or right or not.
Chat, do not correct me on this. I don't care.
And they always, it's sort of like the cross or like other symbols. That's symbols of faith for her in their in the places she was before.
I want to say that Nima has some kind of background knowledge in that this is part of her field of study. This is something that she's done quite a bit of research into. So she probably knows or has heard a couple variations on what the blue roses stand for, and they're called blue roses, but some people say they're actually cabbages, and some people say they're actually like mushrooms, and some people say that they're a cure for cancer, and some people say that they are the worst poison you've ever found, and just looking at them causes you to like shrivel up and die. So she's got that very like academic, like, well, in these stories it says this, and then this subgroup of people think this, but she's she doesn't necessarily have the same kind of spiritual connection and the observing it as a spiritual symbol. She's very much like, this is the plant, and sometimes it's used in for medicinal purposes, and it could actually be something else entirely.
On the mosaic, you see them presented as clearly as the mosaic can, uh, as roses, but you've seen these images before, and you've seen similar images before in your research, so you're not quite convinced yet. They could still be cabbages.
Love that. My maker told me that these flowers would make me real. I, 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 I don't believe him, but I was not filling my purpose, and I thought that maybe there w- w- was a chance.
Are these conversations we're having out loud?
If you'd like them to.
Or Sybil definitely wouldn't have mentioned anything that I said, but
Nima loves to hear herself talk. She would have totally said shit out loud.
Yeah, I kind of figured she was that kind of person.
I think Clock would have responded to that. I mean, either way, Clock would have said that, but particularly in response to the lore, just like offering up oh, I want to be involved in this conversation, and it's like looking up at Nima with like, did I do good? Was that useful? Was that helpful?
so you're just
As I drop my pen on the floor.
you're just looking out here for a grant, make some money off of it. This isn't.
No, I have a publication deadline. Publish or perish.
Well, I'm sure everything will work out just great for you. Now, let's just keep
Can
our
I
reasoning to ourselves.
look at the... Can I look at the mosaic and the symbol that is now visible on Sybil's clothing
Yeah, why don't you describe that to us, Sybil?
and
It is oh my gosh, you bastard. All right. It's probably, I'm envisioning some sort of like, it's a motif of, centrally there is a central flower in the center as like a divine symbol, and tying out from it is various barbs, like thorns and vines, um, and there is blood dripping from the flower, and otherwise more like artistic motifs surrounding it as well. It is sort of, you can tell that it is ripped in certain places as if she was trying to like get rid of it, and it is sort of just barely visible over her clothes. or under her clothes, I should say.
So, is there some kind of, like, I would like to do a combination insight and history check using my skill in myths and or artifacts to put some pieces together re Sybil and this mosaic.
I'll allow it.
Can this be a contested roll? No, it can't really be a contested roll
No,
because
it
it's sort of
can't.
internal. Yeah, I got you.
Kind of.
He really is. Look at him.
He got no bones.
Got no bones.
Bones in that boy.
Give him his bones back.
Give him his bones.
I love him. So
Boy.
I have skills in myths and artifacts. Would the mosaics count as an
Yes.
artifact? Does that mean I get 2 dice?
Only get one.
Would
Okay.
this like scrutiny? Would this be obvious scrutiny, or would it be more subtle, like just trying to catch a quick glance?
Well, we've been walking for like 2 hours, so I imagine she's done the whole like, who am I actually traveling with? Kind of look over her traveling companions. And so this isn't like we've stopped in a clearing. Let me examine all of your clothing. But now that we're seeing the mosaic, and particularly given Sybil's reaction to Nima talking about this being, she wants to publish this.
Mm.
This is a discovery that she wants attention and acknowledgement for discovering this and sharing it with people.
Can I
So
suggest a devil's
it's
bargain?
like, that's a weird reaction.
Um,
Go for
and
it.
maybe Sybil will take notice of your inspection if you want that extra light die.
I'll take it.
All right.
If you can think of a good subtle thing to do at this moment, I'm willing to allow you this opportunity to lower your win. So you don't have to wait for me to give you opportunities. You can just say, I think I'm gonna try and lower my ruin now.
How sturdy is this wall?
It's quite old.
Easy enough that I could trip into it and make it collapse.
Yes.
All right, I'll do that.
I do want you to roll for it,
Okay.
though.
Make a ruin roll, right? Or make a roll 1 light die. So that's all I have to do. 4. My ruin goes down by 1.
Okay. I'd say you don't get all of it. In fact, most of what you
I just want to mess up the mosaic enough that it's harder for Nima to like get enough answers.
I think that you manage it.
Okay.
There's still a good portion of wall standing, but it's the part where the mosaic has already been either like flaked away or covered in vines and moss.
Mm-hmm. So while Nima is like taking like a look at the thing, Sybil will walk forward towards the thing, and as if tripping on a root, collapses into the wall and like maybe I don't know how I wouldn't say smudge the mural because it's probably very baked in, survived in the elements, but definitely like bumping into it enough to like cause some of them to fall. And she will like get back up and just like dust herself off and say,
Be
"Stupid boots."
careful.
Ema, you like to roll?
I'm gonna roll now. Oof. Not awesome. That is a 4.
Okay. So you succeed with a complication. Sybil, since this does involve you, would you like to tell her what this is, and maybe or clock could suggest a complication
Okay.
relating to it?
So what's your goal exactly with this check?
So a lot of hints have been dropped regarding you wearing robes. You've got symbols on you that you're kind of trying to hide. You seem to disapprove of academic interest in forests. You didn't seem happy with any of us being here at all. And I want to see if Nima could connect that, the vibes that Sybil is giving off, with the myths that she studied regarding the blue roses and
Mm-hmm. So I think you would know, especially if you're doing like a combined history check, like you would know about, you would recognize the symbol and you would recognize the cult specifically. Coming up with a name for them on the fly. The sect of the Bleeding Bloom. You're welcome.
Yeah, thanks.
And you know that they're very insular. That together that they don't. No one leaves their compound, quote unquote. Um, they don't really recruit people. Once in a while, someone will leave and come back with more people, but that's about it. It's a very self-contained cult. Um, but it is very odd to see someone out here. And some of their core tenets is um, this almost reverent fear of the roses and their mystical abilities, and this dark desire to feed off of their power. And like they're very like spiritual about it, so they don't actually like none of them have ever tried to get to the garden itself, as far as you know, because they its power is it's so powerful that it's like a thing. It's like it's more of a on a metaphysical sense of these roses and their power, and you can like internalize the power for yourself. And like the cult leader apparently is so powerful and has the power of the roses in them to like control everybody, kind of that deal. You know how cult leaders are. But you can
yes.
definitely get the sense that
I am Catholic. Yes, I know.
Sybil is she definitely acts not as the way she's acting is not in step with how these cultists are recorded, but there are still elements of like that disdain for having other people be here, that sort of, and this sort of aversion to being around other people that sort of has stuck around. Um, but you get the sense that she is either no longer part of this cult or is a very
He's got some issues.
she's got some issues going on with their cult.
Awesome. Thank you.
And
Now what?
yeah, so Sybil, as part of the Devil's
my
Bargain,
consequence?
she sees you do this, and she sees you like scrutinizing her. As a complication, I don't know. Racius, any offers? Any ideas?
I was distracting myself by thinking of ways that I was about to throw both of you to the wolves in a way that was still in keeping with my character. Um,
I could let that be your complication.
that
But none
you've
of us.
just given Clock a free pass to.
Yeah, I mean, like we're sort of like.
I mean, I
locked
was
in
going to
this-
say Sybil's already ruined the mosaic, so
Mm-hmm.
ruin.
So Sybil and Nima are kind of locked in this sort of like mental standoff with each other and have sort of forgotten you exist. You have free reign to do like whatever at this point.
Okay. Using some of those vines you mentioned, I would like to try and set up a fun little like rope trap, utilizing this crossbow that I have at one of the exits that I would perceive that we would try to use to move on from this area. So if there's like a clear continuation of the path that we've been following. So just a nice little like you trip on rope and you get shot with pointy thing.
I'll allow it. I think that as you're doing this, you're not fully aware of what it is you're doing.
Yeah.
It's this instinct.
This is what
So
I'm supposed to do. They'll like this. This will be fun for them. It'll be like a little game that we're playing.
join me, play with me.
Since I had that as Nima's complication for the roll, I'm gonna let you get away without rolling it.
Excellent. Oh, now, out of curiosity, does that mean that I cannot use that as an opportunity to do a reduction roll then?
Yes. Oh wait, so you don't like even you wouldn't have needed to roll for it in the first be your reduction roll.
Reduction roll.
Uh, if you get less than your current ruin, you succeed at your task and increase your ruin by 1. What if I equal my ruin exactly? In this case, does it not count?
You may still reduce it by 1, but your
Does-
betrayal will be noticed.
Oh, you mean... Ah, okay. I must be looking at a different set of rules. That is still helpful. Okay. Go back down. I'm not in danger of dying yet.
Well, since what you did counts as your reduction roll, then maybe
Mhm.
the complication would be that they don't notice.
Okay. Okay.
Sorry, I'm trying to remember how to play this game.
That is fair.
It's a good thing to know how to play the game you're running.
But we have been going for about an hour.
Can I get a last word in?
Yes.
I'm gonna see Nima eyeing me up and approach her and grab her by her pretty little scarf, pull her in close. You just mention a word about any of things you see on me, I will make sure you don't make it out of here alive. She'll push push him. And just say, "Now carry on." And then she's gonna walk right into the trap.
Still okay.
Yeah, she's not gonna notice. She's
Oh,
very
okay.
angry right now.
I'll let you, So,
Give me a condition, do it.
okay. You get winged by one of these crossbow bolts. It's a very hastily set up trap, so it doesn't, like, get you,
It's not
like,
Indiana Jones level. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, okay.
but it does cut you.
Mm-hmm.
And what you notice, like, at first you don't really notice it, but then, like, bleeding. And look down at your leg, and it's not blood that's coming out of the wound. Looks more like milky sap, like a flower stem from a flower stem.
Oh, like milkweed?
Ew.
She's gonna rip up more of her robe off and wrap it up.
I want to make you
Make a rune
do
roll.
a ruin. If that, how did she feel about this? In, uh, in terms of her cult experience.
This is something they would talk about, something happening. But still seeing it for the first time probably still freaks her.
All right.
Any chance I get to roll? Um,
As I am watching this, do I see this, or could I roll to see if I
What would you?
see the?
I guess if you're trying.
Because I have a skill in obfuscation, and she's trying to hide that
I am trying the opposite.
she's not bleeding real blood.
I will let you roll, but just know that if you do see it, you will have to make a ruin roll.
Absolutely, that's what I'm trying to do.
But first, what did you get?
Oh, I rolled a 4, which is equal to my ruin right now.
So it doesn't go up. You're good. You're a little spooked, but
I go, this is fine.
it's whatever. I probably just missaw. All right, Nima.
I rolled a 1.
Yay!
You don't see shit. You get distracted.
But something bad has to happen.
And something bad happens. I think you follow and you also get hit by the trap. Sybil didn't warn you about it. She just
I
kept
go
going.
over to like see if she's okay, because I'm still only at 4 ruin. So I'm like, are you okay? I still kind of, sort of give a shit about the people I'm traveling with.
And you get it, like,
I get-
it just winged Sybil, but for you it's like a solid hit.
Palpable hit?
Yeah. It hurts.
Is this like an automatic reloading crossbow?
Yes.
I don't know.
Yes.
Crossbow.
It's a magic crossbow. It's not crossbow from
It's a
Critical Role.
magic crossbow.
Mightiest Bean says, "Hey Racius, I've had this cannon ready for like 45 minutes. Where are we at with that?"
I thought that oh jeez, I thought that Sybil was higher in ruin, so I heard earlier that they had went up. She had went up, and I was like, oh shit, we're like tied in 5 ruin. Someone's gonna die, and so
Yeah.
I apologize. It seems as though that is not the case.
He's managed to reduce it down to 4 at this point.
Gotcha.
Nima, I don't your ruin doesn't go up at this point, but you are in pain now.
Is she bleeding
Yeah.
the sap?
No, she's bleeding normal blood.
I see how it is.
I mean, I could have it be sap. No, No, it's normal blood. It's just painful. It's not like it didn't nick like a major artery or anything. It's just like gonna suck walking on that leg. I imagine it's low to the
Like,
ground.
in
'Cause
addition to the scrapes I have,
yeah. I imagine.
in addition to the scrapes I have from climbing the wall,
Yeah,
I'm like, oh, fuck my ankle.
basically. Maybe it's not an automatic reloading crossbow. You just hit um the tripwire, and the crossbow itself like flies into your knee,
How?
and you get your
I
knee
was
kind
gonna
of.
say, I walk past Sybil and I do the like step on the end of a rake and it pops up thing,
Yeah.
only it hits me right in the kneecap. There we
Ooh.
go.
Excellent.
How did this crossbow get here?
This is turning into Home Alone.
Yeah, in the woods alone.
I'm
In the
gonna
woods.
pick up the crossbow.
Okay.
It injured me, it's mine now.
The last person I saw who had that crossbow. I know who I turned my ire towards next. Just slowly I turned towards the clock.
Fuck, how you feeling?
Clock is just looking at the fallen rocks at this point, not paying attention to what's going on over there, or at least trying to give off the impression that they are not paying attention to what is going on over there.
We could save this for next time, but if you want me, I can.
I want our last scene closing out to be Sybil turns to look at clock. Sorry, I was just checking my list of things that you do not want me to game so that I knew that this was gonna be them. And you turn to look at clock, and there's like, as they're looking at the rocks and just kind of like off in their own little world, there's like a butterfly on their shoulder, and you're like, oh, a butterfly. But then another one lands on them, then another one, then another one, and it's just starting to get weird at this. And as you watch, in just like the span of a minute, their entire like head and shoulders just butterflies, and they don't seem to miss.
Can we do anything, or is that where we're gonna end for tonight?
That's where we're gonna end.
Okay.
So thanks to everyone who's still watching. Thanks to my players. And we'll be back next Monday, same time, for Ring 3. We'll be introducing Moon's new character. I didn't kill anyone this time, so that's gonna be the only new character.
Yay.
Um,
Don't worry. I'll die.
Try harder.
Racius, is there anything happening this week on ADHG?
That is a good question. We are trying to figure out what our Friday plans look like. Our hope is that we'll be able to do some Slay a While and Listen, our weekly Dungeons and Dragons stream. However, there are some real life things going on in the background of a couple of our people, so we got to see how that fits into it. But what day is it? Today's Monday, so we will be doing something tomorrow. Likely Outriders, but something video gamey at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
God, it's only Monday.
It's only Monday.
I was really kind of hoping that it was not that day out of all the days.
Avery,
Yes.
any Queers Guild announcements?
Um,
I know I should also know this because I'm Queers Guild, but
you are 1/3 of Queers Guild, yes.
Yeah.
We're still planning out our Saturday stream, but it might be a returning guest, it might be a returning game. We'll see. And Wednesday we do video games too. Maybe. Video games. How it be? Might be Destiny, honestly.
Yeah.
I've been on a
Game.
big Destiny hook lately.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Thanks so much for everyone who is still tuning in and watching. Thank you to our Patreon supporters for supporting us Patreoningly.
to all our subscribers.
Subscribe. Click that like button. Like and subscribe. Check out our YouTube channel. I'm going to be putting up all the videos that I haven't put up in a very long time. I will be putting them up soon.
Thanks to my players for giving me the chance to spook ya.
Yeah, thanks for spooking me and for
Thanks
Get
to
eaten
Vigo
by
for spooking us.
butterflies.
yeah, the butterflies was good.
Thanks.
I'm excited.
I was
Great.
so glad that none of you put down, like, on your absolutely not, do not include this list, like, just butterflies or bugs.
Butterflies
in general.
specifically.
Butterflies specifically.
Good. Okay. Alright. Thanks again for watching, tuning in. We'll see you next time here on Queer Guild. Stay happy, stay healthy, stay queer. Happy Pride Month.
Bye.
Bye-bye. And okay.